we talked about yesterday that the cutting of Josh Kline didn't really make a lot of sense, and still am a little bit confused by it, but I think there are some very solid reasons for why the Vikings did so, even though I don't agree with them. The Vikings incurred $4.46 million in dead cap post-June 1st release, spread over 2 years, yada yada. They did free up $1.56 million in cap space. Yahoo! And apparently the Vikings did approach Kline about a restructure and a pay cut. So not just a straight up moving around cap, because hashtag cap's a myth. But I didn't really understand that because the dude was guaranteed $1.8 million on this year's contract anyway. So yeah, of course, I mean, they could be concerned about his 2 concussions that he had last year. That could be factoring in as well. But I don't really understand it. I think that having him, the second best offensive lineman at the team at times last year, just letting him go didn't really make a lot of sense to me, opening up needs at both guard spots. Because if Elflein is back as a week 1 starter, I quit this team. I just can't quit you. Yeah, and I know Zimmer said that he liked the young offensive lineman at the combine, but also he says that every single year. I was like, go back and look what he said about Tyrus Thompson from Oklahoma back in 2015. Gotta look it up. We'll wait. If I smoked, I'd have a cigarette right now. But also, remember, when the Vikings cut Alex Boone, similar situation, big free agent contract, cut him after a year. When they did that in 2017, they only did that because Nick Easton was ready to step up to be a starter. So maybe, just maybe, the Vikings surprisingly socially distancing themselves from Josh Kline means that Dru Samia season is ready to begin. Right. I do think that the Vikings are comfortable with Dru Samia. I think he is on the come up, and I think that he is probably your betting favorite and to be the starting Vikings right guard coming into week 1. Basically, they sat his ass down last year. He was a healthy scratch for 15 out of 16 games. Only saw some run week 17 against the Bears, but just a nasty mauler guard from Oklahoma. He's got a nasty disposition, a guy that I just really, really love. And just... we talked about, I like my centers, be quiet, cerebral. They're getting things done. They are the leader in the middle. Garrett Bradbury is perfect in that, making line calls, all that stuff. Tackles, I like my tackles to be chill, man. It's like, whatever, shoot. We got Khalil Mack coming downhill from on me. No big deal. Brian O'Neill fits that role. I like my guards to be assholes. I really do. That's why, even though Richie Incognito has a lot of problems, I was still in on him. Yeah, I like my guards to just be fiery, especially when in a pulling offense where they're coming around the corner just like not striking. Dru Samia is that type of guy, and also was a 4-year starter at Oklahoma. Remember, final 2 seasons were at right guard. Initially, he was right tackle, I believe. 4th round pick last year. Remember, after they did all those moves, eventually they traded up. For Dru Samia, which is great. And Samia played 193 preseason snaps. Here's the kicker. All at right guard. He played 31 regular season snaps, all at right guard. I would say 95% of the reps that he got at training camp were at right guard. And final 2 seasons at Oklahoma, like I mentioned, were at right guard. So Samia was never going to replace Elflein. And there are some subtle differences between right guard and left guard, not as much so as right tackle, left tackle, but left guard generally is going to be a little bit more agile, a little bit more refined, a little bit more finesse. Right guard is basically just going to be your rogue grader. That's why Samia fits in much better at right guard than a left guard, and I don't think he was ever going to replace Elflein. I think they wanted to avoid the Brandon Fusco fiasco of flip-flopping sides, where it's not as stark as changing sides as a tackle, but there is a difference in footwork. It is, doing everything backwards to a degree with guard. So I think that Dru Samia is fully ready to rise up. Also, the facts are that the Vikings currently have 5 picks in the top 105 and potentially more with Anthony Harris. So even though the draft isn't replete with high-end interior offensive linemen last year. I think Zimmer mentioned this at the Combine as well. I mean, there's no Garrett Bradbury in this draft. I mean, there's no Chris Lindstrom. There's no Dalton Reisner. There's not even a Elgton Jenkins, Elton Jenkins, this year either. But there's this really nice band of strata of like day 2, late day 2 interior offensive linemen. You look at Jonah Jackson from Ohio State University, who we really like. I think could be a perfect scheme fit at that left guard spot. Damian Lewis from LSU, a bit more of a rogue grad. I think he'd be better suited at a right guard. And Nathani Moody, Everyone's favorite Nadani Mooney from Fresno State. High upside, big risk with his health. Cesar Ruiz, the center interior offensive line from Michigan. Tyler Biadish. Better dead than red, but if you can play, I don't really care where you went to school. Bring him on in. So I think that the actions of the Vikings, where it didn't make sense that they're really putting the screws to Josh Kline, where they saved like a pubic hair thin amount of cap. I don't really understand it, but it does open the way for Dru Samia, and also the fact that they know that they have a ton of draft capital to be able to get into your offensive lineman or draft a top 6 offensive tackle. I'm going to start calling it the top 6 from now on, and then perhaps even double back in the mid rounds and get a solid guard as well. I think it speaks volumes to what they think about Dru Samia and potentially Oli Udoh as well. So even though the Josh Kline, I would have much rather, since none of his salary beyond the 1.8 guaranteed kicked in, it didn't kick in. So why not just bring in Kline to camp, have him and Samia compete, and rookie TBD, and if Samia beats out Kline, then cut him, just like they did with Alex Moon in 2017. But yeah, whatever. Anyways, your thoughts, let us know in the comment section below. Dru Samia season. Hit us up. Also, subscribe for daily Vikings takes. If you want to support the work, below us up in the Venmo. Plus, give us a follow on social media as well. And until next time, Skull, production value.